How would you feel if I was like, okay, to do the promo, we're going to learn a little TikTok dance?
Oh, God. I've never done a TikTok dance. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the In Michigan podcast. I am your host, Ryan Redoute, a.k.a. That Michigan Guy on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. And with me today, I have the amazing, the wonderful, the beautiful Emily Prchlik. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm excited for a busy day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of appointments ahead of you.
Yeah.
She's a very what's the word they say when someone's very booked and busy?
In demand,
I guess. In demand. Thank you. But Emily here does custom jewelry design here in Metro Detroit, in addition to giving her talents out to people remotely as well via Zoom and everything like that. And we're going to talk to her about Michigan, about her business, how she got started, the beautiful jewelry she makes, and more, so stay tuned. I actually thought of a really good warm-up question, and that is, now you know stones, you know jewels, you know gems. If you were to describe Michigan as a stone or a gem or a jewel, which one would it be?
Ooh. Honestly, the first thought that comes to mind was turquoise.
Okay.
I think just because I don't think a lot of people realize how clear and clean our Great Lakes are.
Yeah.
I think maybe if you're in another part of the country,
Right.
you wouldn't realize how even some Caribbean-esque some parts are, like Torch Lake and Michigan.
100%. There is actually a video that's trended on TikTok for a while. I'm always looking up like the top Michigan videos. And one of them is this one where it's like, would you believe this is not the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Essentially like that. So with turquoise, is it, because I feel like the color, I know the color, but is the stone like more of a clear?
The stone itself is a little more opaque. I also would think of maybe a blue topaz, which is very more kind of like that crystal-y see-through look, which I think, similar color to turquoise, but a little more clear and crystal.
Yeah.
So somewhere between turquoise and blue topaz.
Very pure Michigan.
Yes. Yep. It is. Yeah.
But you were born and raised in Michigan, correct? Did you grow up kind of in the Metro Detroit area?
Yeah, so I grew up in Metamora. So
I've never heard of that, but that's a very pretty city name.
A lot of people haven't. It's very pretty country, a lot of like horse country for sure. I didn't grow up in the horse part of it, but yeah, a little more country area, but I went to Lapeer School, so about an hour outside Detroit.
Okay, I was gonna say like a little more
think
like
down
out.
a little
a
bit
little
more,
bit. Okay, further down.
Yep.
Yeah, I grew up more on like the St. Clair Shores, East Side,
Nice.
Lake St. Clair kind of
Near the lake?
area. The lake, near the lake. Not on the lake, but like near to where. It was kind of interesting though. Like every gas station sold worms.
Yeah.
Like that was because like fishing in Michigan is just very prevalent.
Yeah, and deer feed was big at the gas station.
For you, deer feed?
Deer feed, it would be at the gas station. So.
Here at the Michigan gas stations, we sell deer feed, worms, anything you need, really. Fago, we got everything, burners. Okay, we got it all. But okay, so when it comes to what you do, would you call yourself a custom jewelry designer?
Yeah. So I definitely, self-proclaimed custom jewelry designer. So I specialize in customized fine jewelry. So engagement rings, custom wedding bands, but my most popular service are the heirloom redesigns.
Yeah, so like getting into the nuts and bolts of it, you essentially take people's jewels that they've had maybe passed down that they maybe don't like the look of as much, but of course appreciate the sentiment that comes with it and just want to redesign it.
That is a huge part. So a big chunk is things that people inherit. Maybe someone was divorced, but that original marriage they had children with, so those pieces are still sentimental. They want to wear it, but not as an engagement ring. So I take their stones and then I remove them from the original mounting and then create a new custom model for those original stones. So
do you feel like you get a lot of like emotion that comes with that? I mean, like even like divorce or even like someone who maybe passed on. I feel like you're sitting there kind of being in this portal to a new world
it is.
for them emotionally.
Play a little bit of therapist, which is fine because I love hearing the stories behind it. But it's a very sentimental, emotional process, and I know. I love being a part of it. It adds more depth to the experience. Behind each piece. So
what's interesting too is like the way you got started. I remember because Emily and I met at a co-working space, and you were saying how you were just getting started, and you were like, I'm gonna try to get some folks in Metro Detroit. Can you talk about just like your startup kind of here and how you've kind of blown up on via things like TikTok to take on people across the country, really?
Yeah, so I worked in the industry for about 8 years, just in different stores across Michigan, and I really just had this feeling for many years that I wanted to start my own business.
The feeling.
Yeah, so took that leap of faith in 2 years ago, and just getting those wheels starting to turn, and then one day I started to I posted a TikTok. I didn't think twice of it. It was kind of like a goofy CapCut filter. And I was like, I don't know if this really fits my audience. I'm just going to make it and throw it up or put it out there. So I decided to post the video. And it kind of went viral. I had hundreds of thousands of views, which was crazy. And I started getting messages from people out of state, which I didn't expect at all. So that kind of forced me to rethink the process and how can I work with clients, over Zoom and email and kind of communicating through photos, because when I'm in person, I can show them everything physically.
Right, so, and they see like the sparkle of everything too a little bit, I'm guessing better too.
It does, yeah. So it was, okay, how can I make this process work for out-of-state clients? So yeah, I still work with many in-state people. I think I have 4 in-person appointments this week, but majority are actually out of state now, which was very unexpected.
Well, it's nice because, you get this message out, you can scale a little bit better, and then you kind of become this successful Michigan-based business, but you can also grab from places around the world too. I think it's nice and kind of share that Michigan energy too.
It is, and it's fun to meet people in other states. And I realize I'm in Michigan, I'm in the Metro Detroit area, and it's funny how many people have a connection somehow to this state.
Everybody has a connection to Michigan, whether it's like a family member or an ex-lover, maybe, who knows?
Went to college here.
Right, went to college here, or just because of, I feel, engineering with the auto biz, a lot of people know somebody who lives here, because I just find that so many people, even like when I went to college, some of my friends were from California, but they said, oh, my dad grew up here, or something like that. But yeah, it ends up being wild.
My last year of college, I went to FIT in New York City, and I remember always feeling like, oh, I maybe won't have that big career if I leave New York City.
Right.
Michigan probably couldn't offer to me that, but I was very much proven wrong. Like I
had a very similar feeling because I was in Chicago and I said, well, there's a lot of advertising going on here. Chicago is literally one of the hubs of advertising in the world. And I thought to myself, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to start a business in Detroit, but I hear this was like 8 years ago now, that there was like the Renaissance of Detroit happening. And I said, well, maybe at least I can try to get my foot in the door in this smaller pond versus trying to take on Chicago, you know what I mean?
It doesn't hurt to be a big fish.
Right, bigger fish in a smaller pond. So that's the kind of idea I had. And now it's becoming this big pond. So I feel like we get to kind of ride the wave a little bit in a way, because we started maybe honing a skill or something, back in the day, or what have you. But
so I have a few out-of-state clients right now. So one is in New Orleans, and then my other girl lives in San Francisco, and they both want to come to Michigan in person to pick up their piece.
Ooh, bringing people into the city,
which is
into
so
the
cool.
state.
And that just gets my mind going, because one, I'm going to meet her in Ann Arbor because her son's graduating from U of M. So I'm like, ooh, where can I take her in Ann Arbor?
Ooh,
That's like get the real experience.
Korean barbecue is a great spot to go.
The Bao Boys is awesome. I love Bao Boys.
I just went to it, and they're into more just like a fancier time. Then I know there's so many very nice restaurants in Ann Arbor to go to.
So it'll be Ann Arbor, and then the other girl's gonna fly into Detroit. So I'm starting to plan our day together to give her the experience.
But see, that's what I've kind of been telling just people on the fly here and there, where it comes to like traveling or getting outside experiences. People, although my own brand is all about Michigan, I'm also about expanding into seeing other places and bringing that knowledge back here to maybe, you know, I went to New York City and I saw, even like going into a bodega, the idea of a bodega is something that we have here, but not to the extent that they have it there. So maybe I start doing a smoothie / party store situation, you know, and it kind of is more like a bodega. And I feel like that's how we kind of become a more eclectic, just
It
community.
becomes its own place,
Yeah.
for sure.
When it comes to for the jewelry that you've designed, do you have like a favorite one design or favorite design kind of experience that you've had with somebody?
So I have 2 projects right now that I really love. So one is a girl I met via Instagram, actually. So she lives in San Francisco, and I'm working on a custom engagement ring for her. And she inherited her grandma's engagement set. And the diamonds were a little bit on the smaller side, but she really wanted to incorporate that into the new piece.
Oh, cool.
But she said, I really want a sapphire center stone. So I supplied the center stone, and then for the accent diamonds, we're using her grandma's original stones. So I love the idea of kind of incorporating new and old. So it's like you have your stones that you chose to be in the piece, but then you have your inherited stones as well. Like I love bringing that together.
Well, and you get to throw a little piece of yourself in there and your expertise to say, hey, you know, this could be beautiful, but what if we also threw in a little pizzazz, a little Emily pizzazz?
Yeah, for sure. And I always tell people, I don't feel like you're stuck with just the stones you inherited. Like we will absolutely incorporate those, but we can always supply some as well.
That's
so,
cool.
Yeah.
And then do you have like a specific story that kind of has like touched you in a way? I mean, with all these redesigns?
Yeah. I became really close with this client. Her name's Charlotte. And
Hi, Charlotte.
Hi, Charlotte.
Shout out.
I'm going to send this to her. She lives in Illinois, and she inherited this beautiful yellow diamond from her grandma. And she did have it redesigned at a jewelry store, but she just didn't quite love it, and she really wanted to redesign it. So I worked with her through Zoom and email, and we came up with this new design that is so her. And I also got to meet her in person as well. We went to Imperial for drinks.
Oh, yeah.
Reviewed her design.
Shout out to Imperial
Yeah.
in Ferndale. It's a great spot for food and meeting up with friends.
Yeah,
Honestly, I just did it myself like last week.
Did you? Okay, we got the strawberry margarita. It was really good. So, it was just such a fun project, and it was so cool to really get her exactly what she wanted. And I loved meeting her in person. Like, genuinely felt like I made a friend through that process. Like someone I really enjoyed talking to and working with, and that is what I love about this business.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, like, you get to put literally your heart in it. That's what, like, I always tell people, too, is, like, and I get a little bit emotional in business, and honestly, sometimes I do need to, like, hold back a little bit because I can get hurt easily, but it's only because I literally, and I feel like you do, too, put yourself into the role. I mean, even hearing you talk about it, you can sense the excitement in your voice, and that's what people have told me, too, of talking about marketing or you know, content creation or things like that. So I feel like it can be but it's honestly so worth it. I feel like you would agree too to put that amount of yourself into what you do.
Yeah, that's why I've been really into small business lately. Like even Perch, it's like every single piece in this store was picked out by Molly and Julie, and they put their heart and soul into it. And when you choose to spend your dollars at a place like that, it just promotes more of it. And that's also what makes the community so special. Instead of having the same businesses in every town
selling
across
the same thing.
US. Yeah. So
sometimes you need big business to get certain things, but to me, I just want to see a world where everybody's an entrepreneur. Imagine a world where it's just thousands, hundreds of thousands of just small businesses interacting with each other, kind of like trading goods and services and things like that. Like, it would be so cool. And I think giving everyone that sense of freedom to be their own boss too.
It does.
Eventually, I think is I mean, obviously, I'm always big on like, you have to go and learn what you need to learn.
Yes.
But then once you have your core, do it.
And small businesses spend with other small businesses.
Right.
I buy my chains from a local business. My jeweler is local. I refine my metals with the local business.
Right.
Like it just all
And that's supporting
builds.
so many Michigan businesses on top of it all. Like you plus 3.
It
like,
does, yeah.
It's
just
insane.
my little business did that for 3 other people.
Right.
It just spreads. So.
It does, and it's so cool. And I think that particularly in Detroit, And in Michigan, really, as in general, too, I feel like we're very small business centric.
Yeah.
Of a local brewery, local honey,
Yep.
local things. Like I'm always seeing, and especially if you go to, what I do appreciate is like Meijer's. They have a store now in the metro area where there's a whole section dedicated to just Michigan brands. And honestly, there's so many Michigan brands throughout the entire store.
They do.
So I said,
Yeah.
that is being smart. Of
Yeah.
like, we're a big box, but we're going to support all of these
It
small
does.
businesses in Michigan.
And
so
it
I give them a lot of
changes
kudos
those
for that.
owners' lives when
It does.
someone like Meijer
Oh my
picks them
gosh,
up.
to get them into a stores just like across the state even,
Yeah.
it's insane.
It's huge.
Speaking of Michigan, what is maybe like, I feel like it'd be fun just to talk about travel because we have summer coming up. Is there
Yeah.
like a top vacation or experience you've had in Michigan that you want to share?
I love Glen Arbor, Michigan.
Glen Arbor? See, I've never heard of that. Every time I'm talking to people, I always hear about new things.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
Glen Arbor, you have to go. It's this very quaint little downtown.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It in a weird way, it feels like you're stepping back in time.
Okay.
Like it's just all of the stores have like kind of a similar theme in their signs, like hand painted store signs. Really close to the Sleeping Bear Dunes.
Okay, so it's up that way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. So
Northwest.
a lot slower pace than Traverse City or Petoskey,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just so peaceful there. I love it. I make sure to go there every year.
Really?
So,
Oh,
yep.
cool. I feel like, well, similar area. I'm sure, like, I could probably see Glen Arbor, like, way
sure.
down the way, because we
Yep.
can see the Sleeping Bear Dunes, but Frankfurt is, like, one of my favorites that I'm always...
See, I've never been there.
say.
Yeah.
Whenever I say it, people are always like, you're going to Germany?
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, no, Frankfurt, Michigan. And they don't have, like, a Bavarian theme.
Oh, okay.
There's no Bavarian theme.
Gotta go to Frankenmuth.
Gotta go to
for that.
Frankenmuth for a Bavarian theme in Michigan. That is
Okay.
the only place you can go.
gosh.
Actually, I'm sure there's more. I think I
Yeah.
just went somewhere and they had a little bit of like Bavarian energy.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
it was Boyne. Boyne.
Oh, yes,
Boyne had a
very-
little bit. Boyne Mountain had a little bit of Bavarian energy, and I
Yeah,
said,
those
"It's
cabins.
spreading."
Yeah.
Glen Arbor.
Glen
was it?
Arbor is
I've
one of
never
my
heard it,
favorites.
too.
But of course, I love Petoskey and
Yeah.
Traverse City. I feel like you gotta go there.
Traverse,
so.
yeah, Traverse City is like a good, especially like the Bay of Traverse City, and like for adults to do like the wineries.
Oh my
And my
gosh.
family actually did a winery tour when we were there, and
Those are the best.
each one just had like a view of had just like an amazing view.
I know.
Every single one of them faced something that was beautiful, so it was cool to
It's
see.
funny, my sister lived in California for a little bit, and she always says, she's like, truly the Michigan wineries beat
Yeah.
even Napa Valley, and it does.
You heard it here, folks. Okay.
Yep.
Michigan's getting new branding. We're getting new, not even new branding, just updated branding.
Yes.
And like
Yep.
highlighting the things that really should be highlighted more. So going back to talking about similar like imperial food places, I'm a big foodie. What is a good food place in Metro Detroit that you would recommend anyone go check out?
So my fiance and I are also huge foodies, love trying new restaurants, and we just went to the Oak Parker in Oak Park.
Oak Parker.
If you can't tell by the name, it's
right,
in Oak
it's
Park.
it's in Oak Park.
Believe it's the same owners as Owl, which I
Oh.
also love. If you haven't had their nachos, go to Owl and get their nachos.
Owl has a place in my heart.
Yes, that is like a staple for us. But they just opened the Oak Parker. Get the corn beef egg rolls. They were incredible. And Tessa, our design coordinator, loves their Caesar salad with the chicken schnitzel on top. But
Ooh.
very much not a chain. Like you can tell how we mentioned that local businesses put
Yeah.
their heart and soul into it. That's the Oak Parker. Like incredible food.
Oh,
You can
that's
tell
cool.
like
Again,
they
local.
really
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just like it just
put
has
thought
the
into
vibe.
it. Yeah.
Also, I want to talk about your like jewelry a little bit too, just because it's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Have you had like, I know that we've talked about a favorite piece you've designed. Do you just have like a favorite piece, or in general, like, or like the one you're wearing? I feel like I've seen you wear that a lot.
Yeah.
Is there something that like particularly draws you to it?
So it's funny, I worked at a store before I went off on my own, and I designed some Christmas stock, and I made this necklace, and I loved it. So my
I'm gonna keep that for myself.
yeah, well, my fiance went on my day off and bought this.
Aw,
So
that's
when I got
cute.
back the next day, they like lied and told me someone else came and got it. So on Christmas, I got this one. So
Oh, that's cute.
This one's special. As far as my own line, I love this watermelon tourmaline piece.
I remember seeing that one, and because it has like almost like an ombre.
It does,
effect
and it
to
grows naturally in nature like that with the pink and the green. And I just kind of did like a heavy gold setting for that one. So yeah, I really love color and.
I noticed that too. Like you're big on color.
Yeah,
Which
do.
I feel like is hard to balance, especially with like metals, and really you really have to know color theory or just have that eye, obviously, for seeing it, right?
It does. Yeah, I think I don't know. I just kind of naturally let it tell me.
Yeah. I mean, you've been in the biz long enough to say such a thing, right?
Yeah. So just play around with it until I get it right.
I remember like when you were talking about your start, you were big on like going to trade shows and you know being on social, and you've done all these things to kind of help build your foundation. Do you have thoughts for the future? Do you have a vision for the future, or is it really like talk about just scale?
Continuing to post consistently.
So make sure to check her out on social.
Yep, posting a lot.
Is it the same social handle across the board?
Yes, it's Emily Prchlik Jewelry.
Yep.
So
I'll link it down below.
Thank you. So posting consistently and kind of, it's me and our design coordinator Tessa right now. So kind of just being able to, I do have a wait list, so being able to maybe remove that wait list or be able to take on more jobs. So kind of streamlining the business a little bit more and then hiring out some roles. I struggle handing things on when you're used to doing it.
It's really hard. I've tried it in the
so-
past as well, and right now I'm just a solopreneur, but I've tried in the past with handing it out, and it's still very difficult to just mentally hang on to your dream while also building up a team. Well, I feel like that we've covered so much. Is there anything else you wanted to share or give a little shout out to besides Perch, which are our beautiful backdrop for today in Berkeley, Michigan, right? Downtown Berkeley.
Yep. No, I think that's it.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about a good amount.
We're good, yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Emily, for being a guest on the In Michigan podcast. Be sure to leave a review of this podcast if you enjoyed this episode. Check it out on YouTube if you want to watch the video portion of it. And other than that, I will see you all, Mish, again.
Thank you.
Bye.
I like that, Michigan.
Isn't that cute?